What up, though, people? It's Wake Up Woodward and chat family. We appreciate you all for choosing to kick off your day with the Woo Crew. It's your boy Brandon Dent, aka Detroit Kool-Aid, your credentialed Pistons reporter and writer for the network, a Red Wings correspondent, vet of the squad, vet of the network, and all sports knower. That's Flannel Sam. What up, though, brother? And I'm feeling the red, white, and blue flannel this morning because I know we're going to talk a whole lot of Detroit Pistons today. But tell the people what else is on the menu.
Well, we got a lot of Pistons. They lost their first playoff game, so that they're officially eliminated, right? We'll get to that in a second.
If you listen to a contingent of the fan base, they're eliminated.
The Pistons,
and Cade is the worst player of all time.
The Pistons series is over, and the Tigers had a terrible weekend. That's what happened, right?
We're not used to that much. That's really it. There's been so much winning going on that. Remember what I told you as Lions fans, we're going to have to learn how to become a fan of a team with expectations. And now we're dealing with this with Tigers and Pistons fans as well. And I hope it doesn't spoil it for some people to be able to go and enjoy what you're seeing right now. This is just a start. This is not 3 years into this aspect of who the Detroit Pistons are. This is their start. And guess what their start is? A great opportunity to go and knock off the higher seeded New York Knicks. They stumbled. But you know what, man? This is where I'm hoping that all Pistons fans everywhere can unite and be a part of why this team has an opportunity to go and do something special, especially in games 3 and 4. Detroit has played a big role, like our fans. And you hear that. We like the clip of Dwayne Wade talking about like how impactful Detroit sports fans were. We've heard even the late great Kobe Bryant talk about how impactful Detroit Pistons fans were. You've even heard Michael Jordan talk about how impactful Detroit Pistons fans were. So listen, this is a team, and we've been saying it all year. Get behind these guys, support these guys, because I do believe, Flannel Sam, they have a good shot to win game 2, word to Rasheed Wallace.
Well, yes, everything you said is correct, but I think I've been swayed on one thing. One thing that I've died on the hill for a long time, but I have changed my mind officially. Cade is just not that guy. He's not the one that's going to be able to get it.
No, we're not starting that shit
Shut
today.
the stream, JB.
We're not starting that.
No, what is it? Cut his mic. No. Flannel, what is going on, bro? Please say psych.
Because
specific.
I don't know if you know this or not, but Cade Cunningham is the only player in NBA history to have some struggles in his first playoff series, let alone playoff game. It has never happened before in the history of mankind.
I see what you're doing there.
Not once. It has never happened before. It certainly hasn't happened to some of the greatest to ever play the game, right?
Oh, Tavsaw says it's over for the Pistons this year.
No.
JB, throw that first one on up, just to give a little bit of perspective, if you would, good sir. Notable performances in a player's first ever playoff series. Michael Jordan, 7 of 19 from the floor in his first ever playoff game. LeBron James, 7 of 25 from the floor, 10 turnovers in game 2 of his first ever playoff series. Magic Johnson, 4 of 12 from the floor in his first ever playoff game. Shaquille O'Neal, Big Shaqs, all hulking 7 foot. This was in shape Shaq. 3 of 8 in game 2 of his first ever playoff series. Tim Duncan, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4 turnovers in game 4 of his first ever playoff series. And oh, by the way, I'm not done. Go ahead and put up part 2 of that graphic. Willis Reed, 6 of 16 from the floor in game 4 of his first ever playoff series. Larry Bird, in his first 3 playoff games ever, averaged 16 points on 16 shots per game. Not very efficient, I would say. Hakeem Olajuwon, in games 1, 2, and 5 of his first ever playoff series, averaged 16 points on 16 shots per game as 7-foot Hakeem Olajuwon, by the way. Kobe Bryant averaged 8 points per game as a role player. Kevin Durant, in his first ever playoff series, shot 35% from the floor and 29% from behind the arc. And Kawhi Leonard, in his first ever playoff series, averaged 7 points per game as a role player. Why do I bring all of these guys up specifically? They are the only players, besides for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who's the exception, to win multiple finals MVPs. And every single one of them, besides for Kareem, had some warts in their first ever playoff series. If you're one of those people who are basically writing off Cade because of one substandard playoff game, seek professional help.
But it's who they've always been. It's who they've always been. If they can't understand the type of player that Cade Cunningham, and honestly, I believe that the New York Knicks just had a great game plan for how to slow down Cade Cunningham. And it's always these comments that get me, though. Mark Royal, these idiots think the Pistons can give away playoff games and still win this series. No, they don't need to give away playoff games. I do believe that the New York Knicks employed a game plan, a strategy that the Detroit Pistons they weren't able to effectively stand with those punches. We saw in the first half the different strategies employed. They were able to hang with it. But when they went to the blitzing of Cade Cunningham and in the hedge with the man in the middle, they just didn't know quite how to deal with it. Now, this is where JB Bickerstaff is going to have to go and put this team, not in a 7-game series, not a one-off where you can go and strategize for one game, somebody coming off of a back-to-back or not, or you're catching a team while they're hot or not. This is now a situation where your coach goes in, your players go in, and everybody seeks to get better. This is a series where everybody across the board, nobody expected this series to be a sweep anyway. Either way, everybody expected, some people expected Knicks, some people expected Pistons on the national spectrum. So when we sit here, we're breaking down the series, I just believe that the Knicks employed a good game plan. They won game one on their home floor, which is something we see a lot of in NBA playoffs that does not, in my opinion, lessen my confidence that the Detroit Pistons can win the series. And it's because I do believe they have the best player in this series. I do believe that they are the more physical and more tough team. They got punched in the mouth, and this is where they're going to have to do something in game two that we've seen them do all season. We've seen them step up and face adversity. We've seen them go and stop the bleeding all year long. And I do believe they're going to do that against the New York Knicks.
And that's the thing. It's one game. Yeah, it was a horrific fourth quarter. It was a horrific run that they gave up. That's fair. Cade's got to be better. Duren's got to be better. JB Bickerstaff has to be better. There's a lot of people that need to step up. It's just that, like, I got to read this comment, even though I shouldn't take this guy seriously. He's just deliberately missing my point. Matthew Kruger, to the shock of no one. Reaching big time, Flannel. Cade's not in this company, though. Nice try. No shit, Sherlock. What I'm saying is that, so basically what you're saying is Cade's not allowed to struggle in his first playoff series.
But those guys are.
Those guys can.
And still become, great.
Absolutely.
And improve from that point.
Every single player that I mentioned in that list, as I said, is a multiple-time finals MVP. The guys that I mentioned, there's like 8 or 9 of the top 10 players to ever exist are in that company. And everybody struggles in their first playoff series, except for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Literally, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the only one. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the only player, maybe in NBA history, and certainly the last one, who was the best player in the world as a rookie. Imagine if LeBron James played 4 years of high school and 4 years of college after high school and then went straight into the NBA. That's what Kareem was in 1970. So that's why Kareem was able to, he's the exception to this. But everybody else, everybody struggles in their first playoff series.
And this is where this is why I started the show the way that I did. Because even in our chat, just like we're seeing in social media, Pistons fans all over the place are split. And this is my thing. I don't care if you're split about if they're going to win or not. Chris Platty, who we know loves the Pistons and bleeds red, white, and blue. I swear, like, if we go to his house, his pillow is probably the teal horse. Like, this guy still picked the Pistons to lose, but he wants them to win so badly. You can support your team. That's my issue, is that where is the hate coming from? Why as Pistons fans, why as people from Detroit, why as people from the metro area, why as people from the state of Michigan, why are we not banding together and supporting the most hopeful playoff team, the most hopeful squad we've had in over, this is the crazy thing, in over 20 years? Because even if you go back to some of the later aspects of going to work and the later aspects of after they started breaking them down, there was no more freaking hope. The hope was Charlie Villanueva and Rodney Stuckey. There was no hope. This one has hope. Why are we doing this right now? With Lions fans, we bandied together in a season that they went 9-8 and missed the playoffs in. The Pistons are there. And this is what boggles my mind with the Cade hate. A guy who has transcended a lot. My man came back from, hey, my leg has fractures all in it. You guys are going to break it, put a pole in it, reset it. I'm going to come back and make all-star. And then my fans are going to be split on that dedication? After one playoff game, and actually it's not just one playoff game. This has been something that has plagued his entire time here, and it is the weirdest energy ever. all Pistons fans right now should be united behind this Detroit Pistons team all across the board. This team knows what they got to do. And the one thing I love is that they've been very cool, calm, collected, and poised throughout this process. If you saw the post games of both J.B. Bickerstaff and Cade Cunningham, you saw those guys aren't bothered. Cade was like, man, this is just basketball. We've seen them go through, have a game like this, and then bounce back and have a really, really good game. Or bounce back the next game where his team picks him up. This squad knows how to play basketball.
And they'll be fine. I mean, like I said, I'm not excusing the loss. It wasn't a great loss. I think all of us, when they had an 8-point lead going into the fourth quarter, thought that they would take it home. They didn't. They showed some of their youth and inexperience. But at the same time, they're going on the road. The Knicks, I don't think people realize this. The Knicks are desperate. They needed that game more than anything. Tom Thibodeau was feeling the pressure.
They looked desperate in the fourth quarter, though.
And credit to them, they won. If Tom Thibodeau doesn't lead the Knicks to a series win, he maybe gets fired. Karl Anthony Towns, and shout out to him, he played a hell of a game. But if the Knicks don't win and Karl Anthony Towns doesn't play great, then Karl Anthony Towns is going to have to answer a lot of questions. Jalen Brunson, again, credit where credit is due. He played really well, particularly in the second half. Mm-hmm. He's feeling the heat. This is a team that right now, the Knicks are in an unenviable position, I'll just be honest. They've got all the pressure in the world. They probably can't win the title. They've got a young, hungry team breathing down their back. And you know what? They reached back. Cam Payne in particular reached back and gave a performance we never expected. Mitchell Robinson was huge. Karl Anthony Towns, how many times was he defended well but continued to make tough shot after tough shot?
Contorted layups.
And credit to him. And he also, believe it or not, Karl Anthony Towns, I think, even though some people clowned his demeanor, the man had 6 stocks as well.
Yep.
And double-digit rebounds. He did not play a soft game. The Pistons have to go back to the drawing board. They have to be better tonight. Many players have to be better, including Cade Cunningham. But they've got that playoff experience out of the way. This is a tale as old as time. And I think that's what bothers me the most is people just do not realize that this is a tale as old as time. Young teams having playoff missteps, young players having subpar playoff games. It happens every single year. It's getting to the point where people are so fickle that I just want to start gatekeeping certain players. I bet you guys like Mark Royal and Matthew Kruger aren't going to be here tomorrow if the Pistons take Game 2. It's a plague right now, man.
And I see Cody Ingle, he says, Kool-Aid, you got to stop being a homer, my dude. Stars aren't immune from accountability of a bad game. And this is exactly what I'm saying. And it's like they missed the point. Nobody said that Cade is immune from accountability, and we talked about it. If you saw the post-game show, there's a lot that Cade needs to clean up.
100%.
We need Cade to score 30-plus. That's been the recipe against the Knicks and getting wins against them all season. We saw that in the season, regular season with the stats. The turnovers have to go away. He has to play with urgency. He has to value each and every possession like it matters because your playoff lives matter. Your season matters right now. Cade knows this, though. And we can sit here and talk about this all day long, that Cade needs to be the one to play perfect. But I'm going to tell you guys something. Even if Cade plays perfect and the rest of this team and J.B. Bickerstaff doesn't meet the level of what it means to play in the playoffs, it's not going to matter. So I like the fact that at least if you're telling me that the aspect of Cade we have to criticize is 21 points, 12 assists, at least responsible for 40, 45-plus points in the entire game and 6 rebounds and 6 turnovers. Like, think about this. So if he makes a couple more of those shots than he missed and brings down the turnovers by 2, the Pistons win the game? No. You know why? Because this is what actually happened in the game. At the 8:47 mark in the fourth quarter, Cade Cunningham, you could tell he's gassed. He's gassed. You could tell it. He's facing the blitz all game. But were the Pistons winning the game or losing the game? They were up 98-93. 8:47 mark. We all sat here and we know that J.B. Bickerstaff does this. And generally, the Pistons teammates pick him up. He's able to get that rest, and he enters sometime between the 4 and the 6 minute mark. In this game, though, when you go just 1 full minute later, Cade Cunningham enters the game for Dennis Schroeder, and the game is now tied 98-98. And we saw that the New York Knicks at that point in time had all of the momentum, all of the chemistry. And this is where you do want J.B. Bickerstaff to be able to better manage that. In the regular season, maybe you allow your guys to play through certain things. Maybe you allow your vets to figure out certain things. But right now, The one thing I want, and I'm hoping for JB Bickerstaff, Cade Cunningham, and the rest of this team to do, is to value each and every possession. You saw Knicks players trying to call time out after several times when they're diving on the floor. The refs didn't always give it to them, but they gave it to them during one critical aspect of the game. Then they put that in contract with the Pistons, the 5-second out-of-bound call. Then you followed it up with a 24-second shot clock violation. These things can happen. And then in the stretch of the game when you're trying to stop it, I do, trust me. With everybody out there, if we want to talk about just the strategy of it all, we can sit here and say, Cade Cunningham cannot have some of the turnovers that he had during that stretch of the game. It's what's plagued them so much in other losses. And right now it's going to be amplified and magnified, not just because you're at Madison Square, but because it's the playoffs and he's that guy. But I do believe that Cade is the guy who's going to rise to the occasion. I just want more out of what JB Bickerstaff is going to be as a coach and out of this team, because the defense as a team failed them as well during that 21-0 run by the Knicks.
Well, when you give up a 21-0 run, it's a whole team failure. Everybody's gotta lay some blame for that, whether it's JB Bickerstaff, whether it's Cade Cunningham, whether it's everybody on the floor, because that's a 21-0 run. I believe what did they lose the fourth quarter? They were outscored by 20-plus points. That's, in a vacuum, that's a meltdown. That's obviously...
That's a team meltdown.
Absolutely. That's beyond unacceptable. And if the Pistons lose this series, we're going to look back at that. But my whole thing is that let the series play out a little bit. You can hold certain players accountable. You can say they've got to be better. But what I'm not going to allow anybody to do is to make these broad judgments about them. That's why I was so sarcastic in the beginning, and that's why I had to point out that so many players, the all-time greats, even Michael Jordan and LeBron, had struggles in their first ever playoff series. It happens. It's just that when you're right in the middle of it, and I think social media amplifies that times 10, you don't know how to look outside of particular very, very small granular situations. And that's something that, as long as I'm here, I'm going to keep providing as much perspective as I can, because if you think this is the end of the world, seek help. Please seek help.
Yeah, and just Eric Mannion Sr., one more thing before we move on to the next segment. We've got a little bit more Pistons talk because we have to talk about, is there a game going on or something like that tonight, fellas? I think there might be.
Well, it's over. They lost the series.
I'm gonna be through with you guys. There's been several times during this bit that I'm actually taking it serious, and my heart drops for a second. And I'm just like, okay, he's still sarcastic.
Oh,
dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, Eric Mannion Sr. says Cade wasn't the reason they lost. Turnovers, he's always going to share in responsibility. But turnovers in the fourth was why. I don't know why the sky was falling after one playoff game. The Pistons can still win game 2 tonight and the series. And this is the thing. I put out the keys to a victory, not just in a playoff game, but for this entire series. And the most important one seems to be number 3, and that's no self-inflicted wounds. We talked about who the Pistons are when they take care of the ball. We talked about who the Pistons are when they run through their actual half-court sets. They've done this adequately with Cade on the court and with Cade off the court this season. Against the Knicks, they in that fourth quarter and again in that entire game, they didn't do that as adequately, to the tune of 21 turnovers, Flannel Sam. And guess how many points they gave up off those 21 turnovers? 25 points.
That's the difference in the game.
And they missed 5 free throws. That is a combined 30 points that you have your fingers on yourself. That's 30 points, man.
Yeah, can't happen.
That can't happen. If they do that again, it doesn't really matter how well Cade plays. You gave another team 25 points off of your turnovers, and you gave them 21 opportunities, and you took away 21 opportunities for yourself to do something, anything. What if they just got fouled in a quarter of those 21?
That's the thing. And time will tell if they can live from it. And trust me, I think all of us will be singing a little bit of a different tune if this continues, if it's a trend, if the Pistons really don't show out in this series. Then we have something to really talk about. But for now, I'm not going to sweat too much, and I'm just going to continue to go off of what I know about NBA history. Game 1 losses are not the worst thing in the world. It sounds like Willie B. What do you got to say on this, brother?
I mean, Jalen Duren need to step up. 7 points and 6 rebounds. He did a decent job trying to contain Karl Anthony Towns, but that's not enough. And you got other guys like Dennis Schroeder. He didn't do much. The only guy that did, 3 guys that did all right offensively is Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris has 20 points and 6 rebounds, and you got Malik Beasley with 20. But that stuff you got to give. The turnovers got to go. You can't make these turnovers. 20-1 run in the fourth quarter while we had an 8-point lead. It's diabolical. I mean, I don't get it. How y'all just go slip up in that fourth quarter like that. Something had to give. And the interior court, they got to understand, Jalen Duren had to do more. Jalen Duren had to do more because Cade need help. Tobias need help. Dennis Schroeder needs to step up off the bench. So that case, to take the team over because you left Cam Payne off the bench with 14 points.
Yeah, that hurt me.
Most of that in the fourth quarter.
That hurt me physically, but I also am not going to be on some hater shit after he did what he did. But Jalen Duren, no more singles. You need double doubles for
we'll
him.
talk about in the next segment. Definitely, there's a theory there, man. But let's hear from Mad Packs.
Actually, go ahead and do a Caesars.
Oh, yeah, I got you. Do Caesars. Where are you at?
Big Time 51, you're right. I do believe they're better. He said Kool-Aid getting upset because he knows his team is so much better than what they show. Definitely. All of them. All of them, bro. We're going to talk about it with the game, too. All of them. But, Mad Packs. You said Caesars?
No, Caesars.
Oh.